Hey everyone. One of the most popular things that I get asked about right now is Power BI and specifically advanced Power BI concepts. And I think that you can draw the line between beginner and advanced Power BI when you start talking about data models. Now, a data model isn't always necessary. You can see I've got this dashboard. It's pretty simple. And you can see I can toggle some options here and update all these different visualizations. But all of these visualizations are looking at one type of data. They're looking at offense data. If we wanted something a little bit more sophisticated that could look at multiple types of data, we need a data model. So you can see over here on this dashboard that looks a little weird. I've got it set up weird for training purposes. So over here on the left, these are all visualizations that look at offense reports. And over here on the right, these are all visualizations that look at calls for service. So we've got two different data types. And the key here is that these slicers in the center here are filtering both. And so if we come in here and select just to see a particular officer or a particular zone or a particular date range, both sides of the visualization will filter. That's because we have got a data model in place. So you can see that this data model corresponds almost perfectly with the dashboard that you see over here. We've got officers, zones, and date range in the middle. And if you look in this model, there's a table of officers, a table of zones, and a table of dates. And then over on the left side, we've got RMS, and over on the right side, we've got CAD. And over here on the left side of this data model, we've got RMS, and over here on the right side, we've got CAD. Now, if this looks really complicated, don't worry. I'm going to break it down really simply here in just a second. But the key thing to know here is that every one of these slicers is built off one of these tables in the middle. Now the tables in the middle have one data object on them that are all unique. So for instance, this date table, if we were to open this up and take a look at it, we're going to see literally this table just contains rows of unique dates. Each occur exactly one time. If we look at the zone table, same thing. If we look at the officers table, same thing. So we connect these tables to RMS and CAD data where these values can occur more than one time. So for instance, you can have more than one offense report in the same day, and you can have more than one officer assigned to a CAD call, or an officer might take more than one CAD call. So their names are going to show up multiple times over here. But we connect them all with a one-to-many relationship. So whenever you actually draw a link in Power BI, it's going to try to auto-detect. But to keep this simple when you're first learning, anytime you're building a data model that's going to filter multiple sets of data, always try to get a many-to-one or a one-to-many connection. You'll notice that all of the arrows are going out from these tables in the center towards the tables out here. And you can also see that there's a one symbol over here on these tables and a little starburst over here that indicates a one-to-many connection. So how do you build something like this? Over here you can see I've got this dashboard further deconstructed. I've got a card counting calls for service on the left and another card counting RMS offenses on the right and a date slicer in the middle that I'm trying to make filter both of these visuals. And now I've got this built off of the date column from the CAD table. So as you see, I can filter the CAD number, but as I play with this, it will not filter the RMS number. So to fix this, we're going to come over here to the model view. And we have to find some way to link these two tables together. Now, if you're familiar with other interfaces like Microsoft Access, you might be tempted to try to make a connection directly between these two tables. You don't want to do that. That's going to be a many-to-many connection. It's going to produce an accurate number for one card, but not the other. And it's going to be impossible to add additional tables on top of this if we want to make our data model more sophisticated. So instead, I'm going to come up here to New Table, and I'm just going to use a real simple formula to create a table of unique dates. So I'm going to use the DAX function calendar, and I'm going to tell it that I want to create date values from 1/1/2018 to 1/1 of 2030. And if we open this up in the table view, you can see all of the columns are just an individual date. I can then make those one-to-many connections to the CAD table and then another one-to-many connection to the RMS table. Now I'm going to build that slicer off of this date table. There we go. And now I can get accurate counts from both of these cards and I can filter both of them at the same time. Of course, you can go on and add even more pieces of data to this. So over here in this table, I've got officers acting as filter. I've also got a zone filter, and again, you can see those reflected on the dashboard over here, where you can go through and select by officer, select by zone, in addition to a date range. So I hope you've enjoyed this brief introduction to data modeling Power BI. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments.